So in like recent videos, I talked a lot about divisibility. Just because my fourth, fifth, even like sixth graders right now on kind of like on the topic of factors and primes and composites and factor pairs and all that stuff. So divisibility is like a very relevant topic, and divisibility can help us with a lot of things. I mean, obviously with like reducing fractions, or even like when we are talking about factoring, like in the higher levels when we get to like factoring polynomials, things like that. So let's talk about divisibility just so we can kind of visit that idea. Divisibility by 2 is just to check to see if the number is even. So for like fourth graders, fifth graders, when we're that are doing this in class, right? So if you have some sort of a number like 67,674, all you need to do is to check if this last digit, the ones digit, is an even number. And we know that even numbers are the numbers that come out when we're doing the skip counting by 2. 2, 4, 6, 8. And don't forget that 10 is part of your skip counting by 2. That 0 in the ones digit, that also is an even number. So is this big number kind of big divisible by 2? Yes, it is, because you just look at the ones, it's a 4, so you know that 2 can divide it. Divisibility by 3 is interesting. For a second, I'm going to skip that and go to divisibility by 4, because 2 and 4 and even 8 are very closely related. So I used this number in another video, but I'm going to use this number again. So 170. This is an interesting one because 170, again, this 0 tells us, okay, so it's an even number, so we know that 2 can divide into this, which means this is divisible by 2. Same thing. However, to check 4, we've learned tricks like, okay, you look at any number, if the last 2 digits, which is the ones and the tens, if this 2-digit number is divisible by 4, the whole number is divisible by 4. That works when we have a number such as, like, let's say you had a number like, right? And then the last 4 digits, the tens and the ones, super easy. It's 40. We know 4 divides 40, so we know that this whole number is divisible by, no matter what I add before it and make it into a bigger number, since we're just looking at these 2 digits, divisible by 4, this whole big number is divisible by 4. Great. Now, let's say we have this situation, and we, and maybe the number is bigger or something, but we have this situation, okay, and maybe you're like, I don't know if 4 divides 70, but the other way we know something is divisible by 4 is if it's doubly even. And that's a term I throw around really loosely in class. I don't even know if that's a real thing, but if it's doubly even, it's divisible by 4. Which means if I half this thing, we know that one of the factor pairs of this is dividing by 2. So 2 times 85 gives me this number. So this is one of the factor pairs of 170. Okay, well, once I half the number, right, which means that if I divide this by 2, I get 85 back. This one is what we call singly even, or it's just even, which means if I divide this in half, I get an odd number. So 4 doesn't divide this number, okay? Which is to say that 4 is made up of 2 times 2, so you need to cover 2 factors of 2 if you're saying that something can be divided by 4. Well, I can't pull out another 2 out of 85, aka this is odd. It's not doubly even, this number, yeah, that we started out with. So this isn't going to work. So let's change this example a little bit. Let's change this to 180. Okay, we're going to check if this number is divisible by 4. First of all, we know it's divisible by 2. Divisible by 2 because it's even. That last digit 0 is even. So we know, okay, so anyway, if I, the factor pair here is 2 times 90, right? If I half this thing, 2 times 90 gives me 180. Okay, well, this number right here is again an even number because of that 0. Which means I could actually half this again, right? Because 90 would break down into 2 times 45. Which means this thing is doubly even. That's what I mean by doubly even. I can half it twice. Another way to say that is when I half it once, I get an even number out of it. Cool. All right. So which means I have two factors of 2 that I can pull out of 180. So this thing is divisible by 4 for sure. Is it divisible by 8? Now, along the same line of thought, for something to be divisible by 8, it has to be triply even, which means I have to be able to pull out 3 factors of 2, because 8 is 2 cubed. So let's try a number that is triply even. So edit. So here we have 240. Now 240, again, we know is even. So let's try halving it. I'm going to do it kind of like a prime factorization tree. Not what we're doing, but maybe it'll just kind of show you that we're splitting this thing up. Okay, so 240 is 2 times 120. So here, we halved it and we got an even number, right? Which means, okay, so we know 4 divides this. Okay, great. And let's try that. This is 2 times 60. Cool. Okay, well, so I halved it twice, which means it was doubly even. But at that point, I got another even number back. This is cool because that means I can halve it again. So I know I have 3 factors of 2, or yeah, 3. I have a factor of 2 3 times hiding in this number, which I can keep pulling out. Which means I have a 2 cubed hiding in here, so I know 8 can divide this number. And in fact, this is 8 times 30, right? 2 times 2 times 30, that's where that is right there. Okay, another interesting fact. Take a second. Do you think this guy is divisible by 16? The answer is yes, it is, because it is quadruply even since I can half it again. Go that way. 2 and 15. Okay, so I know that I have actually 4 factors of 2 hiding in here. And in fact, this is 16 times 15. So this is divisible by 8. So again, we just knocked out divisibility rules of 2, 4, and 8, right? 2, okay, well, check to see if it's even. 4, check to see if it's doubly even, which means can I half it twice? In other words, when I half it, do I get an even number? If you do, it's at least divisible by 4. If you halve it twice, and you're still getting an even number, that means you can pull out another factor of 2. Great, that means it's divisible by 8. So this is a way to check if powers of 2 can divide into a number. That was a lot. If you're in my 4th grade class, I don't expect you to get all of that without me like writing it all out. But hopefully this was like a good video for like my 6th, 7th graders and above to be able to just kind of mental math something to see if something is divisible by 2, 4, or 8. Yeah. I'll do the other numbers in another video. I just have a lot to say about divisibility just because I think it's super interesting. Okay. Go divide stuff. Bye.